Hello everybody and welcome back to Operation Logistics, where we just got the two-way junctions properly implemented-ish. We've got this put in here to catch any null reference exceptions. We'll see if it comes up with any more, and if it does, we'll try to track that down. But for right now, we also have our two-way junctions working properly here, so we now need to get our E-intersection rotations working correctly. Now, we know for a fact that this is using the same as the regular corner rotations, so let's just say rot equals new vector 3, 0, 0, 0 for now. Actually, we can start with that same 120 degrees. I don't know if that'll be accurate or not, but plus get corner rotation. And then we are going to be at our, hang on, there we go, subhexes I dot transform dot position, unconnected position A, and unconnected position B. There we go. So that should be working-ish for the E intersections, and let's see if it in fact is. So let's go ahead and run this. And let's see what our angle is like. We might have to adjust it from that 120 degrees. So let's see, this is an E intersection here, and that looks correct. Same here. Yeah, that looks correct. Very nice. And yeah, I definitely want to reduce the thickness of these to be more like the junctions. I think the junctions look a lot better. But that's something we can do here in a bit. For right now, I would say that 120 degrees appears to be the magic number. So for the X intersections, we're going to do the same thing. Rot equals new vector 3, 0f, 120f, not a period, a comma, 0f, plus get straight rotation, subhexes I dot transform dot position, unconnected position A, unconnected position B. Okay. I think that's four-way intersections done, pretty much-ish. And then we can look at our three-way intersections. We're going to need to determine a few things for that. But, this X is not correct. Okay. So we're going to need to, I think, add 60 degrees for the X rotations. So let's see here, building, road, intersection, two-way. This one here. So we're currently at negative 120. What if we were at negative 60? Yeah, negative 60 is correct. So we just need to say... if we need to add 60, I think. Because I was thinking if we added 60 to the current rotation, it would be adding 180 degrees, and then maybe we need to be at 0. But I think that might be what we need right there. Let's just double check that. Okay. Let's see here. This is an X intersection, and it is still incorrect. Okay. So if we go to the X intersection and subtract 60 degrees, 120. That's correct. Okay, so we do actually need to not add anything to the X. The straight rotation is correct as is. So that should work now. And that should be all of our four-way intersections working completely properly. Which happened a lot faster than I anticipated, I'll be honest. That's an X there. That's a Y there and there, or rather E intersections. Yeah, that all looks good. We don't have our three-way intersections yet. There's a four-way intersection without two unconnected neighbors. So let's take a quick look at map hex 25 and see if we can't figure out what's going on here. And, oh no, this is in subhexes. We need to be in sub-subhexes for map hex 25. Okay. Four-way intersection without two connected neighbors on map hex 25. It's not on a road, though. Why is that coming up? If subhexes I.building equals buildings.intersection. But it's not on a road at all. Buildings.none. Has 5 neighbors on road -1. There are no intersections, no next road, no previous road. Boy. I don't know, that's a bit of a stumper right there. Map hex 25. I mean, it didn't change anything because it wasn't on a road. Else if subhexes I.building equals buildings.intersection. It should not be in here unless it equals buildings.intersection. And then if it has 4 connected neighbors. So how did it get in here? That's my question. Is it maybe something to do with the clearing? Like, the clearing of all of the, all of this. We generate connected neighbors up here, correct? Yes, we do. It's not held by the hex. So the question is, how exactly did it get there? If it's map hex 25... Okay, let's double check here. So subhexes I.building, and then if we're down here, building.intersection, and then case 4, if connected hex, or if unconnected A equals null, or unconnected B equals null, subhexes I.gameObject.name. So yeah, we are looking at the correct one. Map hex 25. How did you get there? You're in no biome, which is correct. Your classification is default, which is correct. Your building is none, which is correct. Your offset is 0.04, that's fine. Manager, blah blah blah. I have no idea how that hex even got considered. Let's run this again and see if this is a more consistent thing. Nothing there. Another thing I was thinking is maybe it's only in ones that aren't the first one. Those are 3-way intersections. Roads merged for a bit. 3-way intersections. Well, it's not coming up again. We'll just keep our eyes on it for right now, and let's go implement our 3-way intersections. So, right here, we can go ahead and say we need to determine if this is a Y or junction intersection. So let's go ahead and pull out our, if I can clear our console here. Let's go ahead and pull out our, after I disabled subhexes, actually. There we go. So we need our junction. There we go. And we need our Y intersection, which is here. Okay, so when we're looking at this, when we see our junction, we know that we have 2 that are straight across from each other, and then 1 that is right next to it. However, we also know that when we have our Y out, all of them are equidistant from each other. All of them are the corner distance from each other. So I think that's how we're going to determine this. There's only the 2 types of 3-way junction, correct? There's this one, and then there's this one, this one, this one, this one, and then there's this one here. So yeah, there's only the 2 types of 3-way junction, I think. So we need to determine if they're all equidistant from each other or not. So first things first, we need to get our unconnected neighbors. So the best way to do this would probably be to just do what we did up here. and then have like A, B, and C, or do a list? I think we should probably do a list. Or something along those lines. We've already defined unconnected A. That's in a different case, though. Shouldn't that be out of scope? That's a little weird. Anyway, we are going to go ahead and comment out this debug log, and I'm going to make a list. And this is going to be a list of sub-hexes, and I'm going to call this unconnected hexes equals new list of sub-hexes. Okay, so if it's not within our connected neighbors, then we just say unconnected hexes dot add subhexes I dot neighbors j. Okay, so we have our list of unconnected hexes. So now we should say if unconnected hexes dot count is not equal to 3, debug dot log subhexes I dot gameObject dot name plus. Okay, so what are we gonna say? Three-way intersection without 3 unconnected neighbors. Shouldn't happen. Ever. That is not a thing that should happen. But then we just break out of here. We'll handle that error that way. So now we can assume that there are 3 neighbors, because otherwise it wouldn't get here. So let's just, I guess we can do this in an else just to be absolutely certain. And then from here, what do we want to do? Well, we want to say if the distance between the 3 is equidistant at the corner distance, which is this right here. So we're going to need to calculate the distance twice. So we'll say float square distance A equals, and actually I'm just going to declare it for now, and also float square distance B. Okay. So now we'll be able to determine what our distance here is. So square distance A should then be equal to, and we'll call this unconnected hexes 0.transform.position, and I'm going to put this in parentheses because we're going to need that, minus unconnected hexes 1.transform.position. And this shouldn't cause issues, theoretically, dot square magnitude, because we already determined that there's exactly 3 in the list. Now, this may cause issues with there not being 3 in the list and it not generating this, but we'll get error messages about that. So, the distance between 0 and 1 should be square magnitude, and also the distance between 0, and I messed that up a little bit. There we go. The distance between 0 and 1 should be square magnitude, right? So here and here, and the distance between here and here is also square magnitude, as well as this here. They should all be equidistant, is what I'm saying. So if we then also check the distance between 0 and 2, both of them should be approximately equal. So if approximately equal, square distance A and square distance B. So if they are the same, we know this is a Y intersection. Else, we know this is a junction. And the reason we know that is because these, again, are equidistant. So this here, these are all equidistant. And when we are in our junction, these are not equidistant. Same thing here. These are not equidistant. So that's how we're determining what type of junction that we're going to spawn here. So we can then go ahead and say road equals road intersection Y. Calculate, there we go, rotation. And then we can say here, road equals road junction. Calculate. Wow, I cannot type calculate today. That's exciting. Rotation. Okay, so we now know, theoretically, for a fact, what type of intersection we have for everything. So it should no longer spawn anything, theoretically, that is a placeholder. Our three-way junctions will not be correctly rotated yet, though, and we'll figure out how to rotate those in a moment. Oh, no reference exception because subhexes were not enabled. There we go. Now we should be fine. Okay, so we've got one here, and that is a three-way intersection without three unconnected neighbors on map hex 15, of all things, and that created the road placeholder right here. That's expected to create that, but why did that spawn? Intersection? Oh, because there's only three neighbors. And all three of them are connected. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. How am I going to handle that, though? And that's the cause of this up here as well. So instead of shouldn't happen, I'm going to say this is probably an edge tile. And then same down here. And we'll deal with that later. This is probably an edge tile. Okay, there we go. So that's probably an edge tile. And the reason that's happening is because it's assuming that there are always 6 neighbors. But for edge tiles, there are not always 6 neighbors. So we have the exception handled. It's just putting in a placeholder for right now. That should be fine. This is not so fine. Let's take a quick look at what's happening there, shall we? So we have a road intersection Y right here, when this should clearly be a junction. So why did this not output a junction? Because this connects right up here, right? Let's take a quick look at the hex. So our next road piece is map hex 65. Yes, it does indeed connect up there. So why did this output a Y when it should have outputted a junction? So if approximately equal square distance A and square distance B, we know this is a Y intersection, road equals road intersection Y. So how could it output that this and this was equidistant to this and this, or vice versa? This and this is not equidistant to this and this, for sure. Well, actually, it would be unconnected neighbors. So this one, and this one are the unconnected neighbors. But again, they're not equidistant to each other. Are we calculating this incorrectly? From 0 to 1, and then from 0 to 2. It could be that our fudge is just too high for this scale. Let's take a quick look here. What is our fudge? 0.005. We are expecting this distance to be 001. So yeah, that's the problem. The fudge is too high. So I'm going to go for 0.0005. A much smaller fudge on that approximately equal. I'm pretty sure that's what the problem was. Let's see here. Oh my. So, I think these are correct. It's just not rotating them yet. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is. They're just not rotated correctly yet. This one connects... Well, this is kind of a bend, and then it connects, which we don't actually have. Okay, so that's a new type of intersection that we don't have yet. That's a possibility I hadn't considered, right there. That's interesting. It's going to throw a potential wrench into the works, because, let's see here, one... Yeah, that assumes that we go straight. So we're going to have to... Right up here, we don't necessarily know that this is a junction. We need to determine if this is a junction or a bendy junction. Since apparently that's a thing that I hadn't considered, because we're going from here to here, but we're also connecting here. So there's that. But for right now, let's go ahead and start working on our rotation for the types that we have. Or do I want to make the bendy junction mesh right now? We could do that. Let's fire open our bend mesh right here. So this is what we've got for our bend. And then for the bendy junction, we would need to have a circle here with 6 vertices as our guide at 0, 0, 0. And then we just have one coming in up here, which would probably end up actually being the junction mesh that I would then just mash in here. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go to File, Append. And then let's append in our road junction. And we'll get the plane mesh. It did not work. Why did it not append it? That's a little bit exciting. File, append. Append in the plane mesh. Yeah, it's just not there. Okay, well, you might have to do this a slightly different method then. Unless I'm doing this completely wrong. Maybe instead of mesh, we need to be object? Append to the plane object? Yeah, that's what we need. Okay. So we can see here that we have this already correctly in place. So we can get rid of all of these faces, and all of these faces. And I'm just going to delete faces, not vertices. So that's what we've got right now. And I'm going to go ahead and join these together. No mesh data. Yep, now we've got mesh data to join. Okay. So this is what we have right now. We're going to need to create some edge loops over here and up here. However, we are almost out of time. I'm going to go ahead and do the edge loops here, actually. And let's go ahead and go from the top. Oh, that's a little exciting. Yeah, it's wanting to create the bendy edge loops. In that case, let's just go ahead and... Why am I trying to create edge loops? We've got it here. We can just delete these faces. We've already got the vertices right here. So we can just go like this. Easy peasy. Is it just me or does this look a little weird? No, the height is actually fine. I think it was just my perspective. Okay, so we don't actually have the vertices over on this side. So we may have to do the edge loops over here. We can do them kind of like that, or we can just move them back manually, which might be the better option. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to slide these back this direction, and then place them exactly where they should go which will be right up over here, but we need to get zoomed way in close. And then edge slide this guy back here, but I can't really see. There, now in wireframe mode I can see. That'll be good. Ish. Maybe back just slightly more. Right there. I like it. Okay. And then we'll do the same thing here on the other side. Edge slide that back over to there. Get that a little closer. Back to right about there. That'll do. And then exactly the same thing on these. No, not on that edge. I want you to edge slide, but I want you to edge slide on this. Okay, maybe if we go like so. Yeah, this one it's letting me do. It was trying to slide on the wrong edge, which was a little bit obnoxious. Okay, and let's get zoomed way, way in, as close as we can get, and place that basically right there. That's good enough. Okay, and now finally for this one. It's sliding it on the wrong edge again. Lovely. I'm going to have to go ahead and delete this edge then. Oh, I see what the problem is. The problem is that there is not an edge here. But now there is. So we can go ahead and slide that right there. Go back to top view. And in we go. And that'll create the vertices we need. Okay, well it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we will wrap up creating our bendy junction mesh. See you all then.